And we are live. Hey guys, welcome back to Critical African Thinkers. How is everyone doing? So let me just inform people in the Discord that the show has started. All right. So today's show, we're going to be talking about Trump's arrests, Trump's indictment, and the sort of things that have followed it so far, especially on right wing Twitter. Interestingly enough, Trump came back to Twitter today after since 2021, after he was banned from the site, even though Elon Musk reinstated him when he bought the site. Trump refused to come back to Twitter. So, as everything or as fate will have it, he is back on Twitter and he made a very grand entrance to Twitter today. He made a very spectacular entrance where he released his mugshot. When I first saw this mugshot, I thought it was I don't know parody. I even had to check check the account to be sure that it was Trump's account. Yeah, it was Trump's account. So he had this mugshot where he was showing um, mugshot August 24, 2023, election interference, never surrender, donaldtrump.com. So this is how he announced his return back to Twitter in a very big, a big splash, which in a way is sort of overshadowing all the Republican debates that happened. It's Trump is just he's just a massive black hole of attention. He just sucks everything. He sucks all the attention from anything that is involved in. So nobody's talking about the debate. Nobody's talking about DeSantis or Vivek or Mike Pence and others. Right wing people on Twitter, they're talking about Trump. They're talking about Trump's mugshots. They are how will I call it? They are almost idolizing it. They have made comparisons between Trump's mugshot and that of the mugshot of people like Nelson Mandela, mugshot of people like um, MLK, and so many other important historical figures. They have drawn comparisons. They have drawn parallels. They are making this guy out to be the Messiah, and it's kind of interesting, right? That in no other situation do you get someone who is how will I call it, someone who's been indicted for a crime being celebrated this much. In no other situation do you find that people are celebrating someone who has been indicted for multiple charges. I think 37 charges, and this one in Georgia is the most damning in my opinion, because I was listening to that clip of Trump telling the Georgia representative or whatever that person he was talking to on the phone on how to get votes for him to win the election. That clip was about 4 minutes long. When I started listening to that clip initially, I was like, oh well, there's really nothing here. This is just Trump being Trump. It's just saying his normal stuff. Until it got to the point where he said we need to find a certain amount of votes. I was like, whoa, wait. I think there's a problem. And the problem is I suspect that Trump actually thought he won the election, because come on, I thought he won the election. I actually thought the election was stolen, right? And he was very, very inarticulate in what he was saying there. I thought I don't really think he was telling them to manufacture votes, right? I don't think he was telling that man to manufacture votes. I think he was telling him to maybe they should do a recheck, and um, maybe if they did the recheck, what they're going to find is that they just need to find one more vote to push it in favor of Trump. Now it sounds really, 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 really bad. It sounds like trying to do something shady. It sounds like a sinister plot. But if you know Trump, there's really nothing. There is no high level game going on there with Trump. He was just being a moron. He was just being an ass. He was just being an idiot who thought he won the election. I was looking for ways to, you know, it was so. So personally, listening to that clip, I can understand where it's coming from. However, on the legal angle, from the legal side, I think that clip is very damning. I think it's going to do him a lot of damage because it felt like it was goading that man to push the election in his favor. Was He was trying to strong arm him, telling him that voters are not going to turn out in the election to vote him because of what he's doing to the president and all that. And many of these things just seem like self-inflicted injury on the part of Trump. His loud mouth, his inability to control himself is what's gotten him into this mess in the first place. And everything is of his own doing. There is nobody else to blame but Trump for any predicament that he's going through right now because he wouldn't keep his mouth shut. He wouldn't he wouldn't just play he wouldn't just play the political game, as whatever you want to put it that way. Yes, there's a game of politics. You somehow have to play that game, but he wouldn't play that game. He was just doing his own thing. He was just wasn't taking advice from anyone. Hi Stanley, how you doing? So let me put the link. Those who want to call in can call in. He was just being a total ass, right? But it's very interesting to note that that conservatives, right wing Twitter, they are idolizing this guy. They make These are the same people who are against crime. So today I was asking on Twitter, is it that the Republican Party is now pro-crime? Are they now all of a sudden for crime? They are now celebrating criminals, right? Because they see it like it's a badge of honor that Trump was indicted. They see it as a badge of honor that Trump has a mugshot, right? They see it as a badge of honor that someone who is vying for the president of the United States of America has this much baggage. They don't see that this is a red flag. These are the same people that will complain that, oh, if a woman has this much red flags, then you shouldn't even think about dating or marrying her. Trump is a bag full of red flags. Is a bag full of red flags. And many of the promises that he promised to do, nah, he didn't do anything. Was going to drain the swamp. No, no, no. He swam in the swamp, right? So it's all such a bad look for the Republican Party. It's all such a bad look for Trump himself. He really doesn't care, right? He doesn't care about anything. He's just doing his thing and thinking that he's being victimized, thinking that the system is but everything is of his own doing. Anything that he's going through right now is of his own doing. And yeah, if I was his political opponent and he's giving me these things to take him down, I'm going to gladly accept. I'm going to gladly take it. I'm not going to say, oh, for the optics of it, let it not look as if we're victimizing him politically. No, 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 no. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for the kill and make sure that I destroy him. So everything he's going through is of his own making. I have absolutely no sympathy for him. Zero sympathy for whatever he's going through right now. Now, there are many people who are making this about, oh, it's not about Trump, it's about the system, or the system is broken, or the justice system. Well, I mean, black people have been complaining for a very long time that the justice system is broken, is not it's working against them. And what were they told? What were they told? All of a sudden, now it's Trump, and oh, now it's actually true that the justice system is broken because it's Trump. Why? Why? And then there was this other case of the director for Blacks for Trumps, who was the only person placed behind bars, and in all these indictments and all these arrests that's going on. And people on Twitter are saying, "Oh, look, it's only the black man that's behind bars. What about the other? What about the other people? This doesn't look good for the Democratic Party." And Barrington was one person who made that observation on Twitter, and I was like, this is the same guy that is always saying, not everything is about, when black people complain of certain things on Twitter, he's saying, oh, not everything is about, it's not about racism, it's not about this, not about, but now he's making it seem as if this guy was the only person placed in jail because he's black. It's because he's a black person. I just found that very, very ironic and disingenuous. Anyway, Stanley, welcome to the conversation. How you doing?
I'm doing
Um,
good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm
You
good. I'm good.
Well, I don't know. I might have to go against you.
Oh, good, good,
Well,
good.
no,
That's what
I'm
I
kidding.
like.
I don't think it's a bad look for Trump. What Trump has done is kind of expected. Um, I don't think it's a bad look for the Republican Party because you can disagree on, some of the, we need to legislate morality stuff. Trump has transcended a moral Republican Party. He has gone beyond a George Will
Mm,
or a William F. Buckley. Um, when I was a kid, and I know we've talked about this once, some of the guys like Will and Buckley, I used to listen to those guys on PBS when I was like 10.
mm.
So, I'm not the weird, like always liberal person. I tend to be rather balanced. Um, this is a bad look for America, is my point.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's not Republican, it's not Democrat, because Democrats voted for Trump too. Um, and I guess I honestly think we'll get over it. We've been through some difficult times too. We've actually had worse presidents than Trump.
Oh,
Um,
really?
Andrew Johnson was a one-termer. Look up Andrew Johnson. It,
Yeah, I keep hearing that name.
they're
Like
they're
news.
worst, and you know, um, I think if Trump gets elected president again, and it's certainly possible, I guess, um, then we have to worry. I think right now we're just trying to, and I'm kind of being pro America here. We'll
Mm.
figure it out. And we're kind of between a rock and a hard place, though. I have to admit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So,
and
so I think.
I won't go into, the race stuff because that's why you made a point about black people kind of going, well, stuff is wrong with the justice system. Stuff, excuse me, is kind of fundamentally wrong. Excuse me. Yeah, for quite some time. Um, and not like black people are saints or anything, but we kind of have a radar about some fundamental issues because we've been billionaires now. We've also been slaves, so we've seen the pendulum swing,
Mm.
and not individually, but um, collectively. Um, and that's my point. People need to listen, and I don't mean just white people, black people, Americans kind of need to listen to like bellwethers. So Trump isn't the worst president.
Mm. So I guess my first question to you would be, is this politically motivated? Whatever is happening to Trump, do you think is politically motivated?
What you mean the indictments?
Yeah, the indictments,
No.
the arrest, the everything that's going
It
on.
on the surface it can appear that way. It's easy to describe it that way, but I live in Georgia. What dude? There are Jack Kemp, governor of Georgia,
Mm,
Raffensperger, Republican. These guys are like Republican Republicans.
mm,
Georgia is, suddenly purple, but Georgia's been a red state forever.
mm,
When you have, hell, they probably wanted um, a Republican president, but they're not gonna go, dude. We're not gonna do illegal stuff.
mm,
And this is my point about Republicans who are moral, who are good people.
mm,
I One of my best friends in life, a Navy buddy of mine, you know, Republican. Um, I won't get into stories, but I've met his family, he's met my family. We all got along. We could josh back and forth about, taxes and tax cuts and welfare and all this stuff. Trump has taken us into a way darker place.
yeah, and I kind of liked the way the man that Trump was talking to, the way he was responding to Trump was like, there's no way I'm going to do this. It's unlike if it was my country, Trump would have persisted in power without a doubt. Without a doubt, he would have persisted in power. That was a very easy thing for them to do. So the
Well,
fact that members of his party were able to, like, this, we're not going to do this. This is what the results are. This is our results. Look, they are genuine. If you have your own evidences, then let's present it before the courts and let the courts make a determination. I was really, really impressed by that.
I mean, I'm gonna go back and I please don't ever quote me on this, but I got a Republican governor. Raffensperger is still in office.
Mm,
I will not agree with a lot of the stuff my governor wants to propose. But you know what? Can't say he didn't defend Georgia and our election system. He stood
mm,
up. And actually, Kemp has done some good things way before the 2020 election. Won't get into it, but dude might be, you know, a conservative. Don't agree with him, but I can't say he's not a good person. Can't
mm,
say he won't stand up for what's right.
mm,
Cannot call him a criminal
mm,
or he stood up to Trump. He stood up for his state. Um, don't agree with him politically, but I damn sure agree with his person, who he
So,
is.
do you think that it's possible for any other American politician to have acquiesced to what Trump was asking?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, so Trump was asking him to look for one more
Well,
vote.
no, he didn't go to the governor. He went to Raffensperger, and I forget who
Yeah,
his Secretary of State was. And,
yeah, the right.
ultimately it would go to Kemp. They stood up. And yeah, it's possible.
Mm, wow,
Good
that's scary.
people are good people.
That's scary. It's scary that it's even possible because if these guys didn't have the uprightness and the
Moral
forthrightness
fortitude.
to say no, then it could have gone. It could have
Yeah,
gone some.
but go back and think about it. Mike Pence, for instance,
Mm,
you know, he he went to Dan Quayle of all people. Remember Vice President Quayle under um, Bush Senior?
mm,
Dan Quayle was Bush Senior's vice president. Um, he's from Indiana. Pence is from Indiana. He actually went to former Vice President Quayle, and Vice President Quayle was like, "No, you have to follow the Constitution."
mm,
So there are good Republicans. You may not agree with their politics, but they understand the Constitution.
Mm.
They understand. And, dude, I understand bending rules. Dude, rules are meant to be bent, but not necessarily broken.
Mm.
And I just think that anyway, I'm going way off track here. Bottom line is there are good Republicans, and thank God we have some.
So, do you think that the Democrats, if this was Joe Biden making this request of a Democrat governor or Democrat people, do you think that they would have acquiesced?
Well, Hillary Clinton had some problems, with how the 2016 election went. She won the popular vote but lost the electoral college.
Hmm.
What did she do? Trump even made the point on Tucker Carlson's X show interview.
Hmm.
Um, Hillary Clinton called at 3:00 whatever it was in the morning and congratulated Trump on winning. So she may have had a lot of problems, but she conceded. Al
But
Gore is the second example in 2000.
hmm.
Um, he had a credible argument in Florida, but
Hmm.
you know what? He may not have wanted to be president anyway,
Hmm.
but he conceded. So we have two relatively 21st century examples of Democrats vying for president who could have made a big stink about it and didn't.
But don't you think that, don't you think that there was a lot of foul play that happened during this that last election? Because the
You
results
mean
the
what?
results I mean, the
Um,
results were not called on time. There were delays. They were,
um,
unlike 2016 election. This just seemed a little bit more shoddy.
but
It
let me
just
put it
felt
to you
like
this way.
something was going on behind doors.
2020 elections haven't been called on time for like decades. I mean, a presidential. No, no,
I
no, no.
followed the
I'm dead
2016. I
serious.
followed the
I'm not
2016.
kidding. Presidential elections, especially when they're close, no,
Mm,
they're not called within 24 hours. And I'd have to go back and do the history, but I've lived through, dude, I'm almost 60. I've lived through a few presidential elections. Having an election called the same day or within 24 hours, it's rare. It's not a standard.
So, can you give other examples apart from Bush's election, other examples of elections that were not called?
Well,
In,
Bush Jr., his election wasn't called in a
yeah,
day. It went all the way to Florida.
I know that. I said apart from Bush Jr.
That's all I need to say. Um,
No, that's not all you need to say.
sure it is.
You said elections are
I
not.
said it wasn't rare.
You said it wasn't rare. Yeah. So you can't use one example. One
Sure
example.
I can.
Nope. No, no, Stanley. You have to give me more than one. You've made a claim. You've made a very big and bold claim. You have to
I
give me.
also said I haven't done the research, but I think within the 21st, you, I will give you that point. I'm going to tell you it's not rare. Presidential elections are rarely resolved unless there's some sort of like huge um, popular vote. Um, you know, let's not say a landslide, but a big margin. It hasn't happened in the 21st century.
Wow. Well, I personally,
I promise I will do the research and send it to you
please do.
when
Please do.
I
The,
will, and
the,
I will make it my mission because I know I'm right.
the only reason why I stopped believing that the election was stolen was because Trump could not provide any credible evidence. At that first year after the election, I genuinely believed that something really went wrong, that the Democrats did some shady things, but nothing was coming forth from the Trump camp.
No, dude, not even close. You have to provide evidence that Democrats did shitty things.
That's what I'm saying.
Did,
That
did, did
was
Democrats do shitty things when Hillary Clinton lost?
well, the there was there was strong imperatives for getting Trump out of office. There was really, really, really strong imperative for getting Trump out of
You know
office. So
what?
the
I'm
kind of
not even going to follow you up on that. There were strong incentives, but he lost the popular vote.
yeah, presidents lose the popular vote all the time and still win. It's
Uh, yeah, it's not that rare.
so that wasn't that's not a contentious point.
But you all see, this is the tricky thing, and I'm going to get way off topic, so I'll not go too far. In a way, the Electoral College, the way the founders set it up, it was mostly for smaller states to have more sway than
Mm,
a strictly popular vote. And you'll have people go, well, we need to get rid of the Electoral College. I actually disagree with that.
yeah, I
You know,
disagree with it too.
the
I
electoral
think the
the
election
electoral
system
college.
is
Now,
a
the
brilliant
reason
idea.
I think it's amusing to I think the electoral college, it's funny, um, the way things like this work. But
Mm,
um, Trump is a bad loser.
yeah, the sore loser. Is a sore loser. Part of the reason why I got frustrated with Trump was after the elections were called, I just needed him to, just accept the results of the election, go away quietly, and come back in 2024. But he just made so much of a stink about it, with all the claims and
Well,
with
the
and
problem
all.
the problem is he made a stink before the election. If you go back to like the summer, he was saying there's gonna be fraud. He was laying the groundwork because he kind of knew he was gonna lose after the COVID stuff and the economy tanked. I can do that research too, but he was talking about election fraud in August of
Mm,
2020. You didn't know this? He and Steve Bannon
mm,
and others were saying, oh, hey, if you don't get out and vote, they're going to try and cheat us out. We're behind the gun. Uh, dude dude laid the groundwork for his argument. And supposedly it's somewhere in one of the indictments where Trump was told, hey, you're probably going to lose. Rudy Giuliani and Trump had a conversation. It's
mm.
in the indictment somewhere. One of those indictments, one of the four, where basically Trump was told, you need to fight, you didn't lose, etc.
So, cool, Kumasi, you're asking, does the right wing of Twitter have power or influence that have you or Stanley worried or perturbed? Worried, perturbed? Who says I'm
I'm
worried or
sorry,
perturbed?
what?
It's amusing. No, is what cool
Does the
Kumasi is
right
saying.
wing of Twitter?
Does it have power or influence that has you or Stanley worried or perturbed? I found it amusing.
I've never been on Twitter. I literally. I don't have an account. I've literally never been on Twitter. So
So
my answer is
so
no.
let me explain to him, what they were going nuts over, right? Trump released his mugshot on Twitter today. He returned to Twitter today and released his mugshot with the
Cool.
statement, election interference, no, not going to surrender, and all that stuff, and posted a link to his
Well, you already surrendered.
he said the election interference, never surrender,
Well,
Donald
no,
Trump.
he surrendered in Fulton
Yeah,
County. He
he,
surrendered his ass for the
now
mugshot.
the funny thing is that, well, people right wing Twitter is saying, "Oh, this is such a genius move. Oh, this is high level, thinking. Oh, Trump captured the whole conversation. Now nobody's talking about the debates of the other candidates. Trump is making waves. This is such a good look for Trump. Trump is." I was like,
But you
really,
that is
really,
such a
and
good
then
point. That is such a good point. But Trump in a Republican primary,
mm,
it's not the general election. He won, dude, he won the primary in 2016 and won the presidency. He wasn't challenged in 2020 and lost the presidency.
mm,
My point is that he had his 4 years and was found wanting. Now,
and
I'm
and
I'm gonna be honest with you.
mm,
He probably would have survived had he handled COVID better because Biden was a weak candidate.
yeah,
But he didn't. You know what? Trump was inconsistent. He was back and forth. First thing is all those people, like the first 15 people, he made a idiotic argument. Don't let Americans off this cruise ship because they will increase the COVID numbers. That's insane. That's someone who doesn't understand math or gives a darn about people. Why would you leave Americans on a cruise ship who are sick? He was worried about his impression. The presidency isn't a reality show.
he
So,
obviously
but
is.
he might have had the best economy for 2 years. The last 2 years, basically, his ineptitude at management, at leadership, tanked a good economy. That's why he lost. He was
Yeah.
inept.
So back to the Twitter stuff. Let me just answer Komasi. Back to the Twitter stuff. Now, the right wing Twitter were like saying, "Oh, this is such a powerful message that Trump has put out. This mugshot is that the Democrats have made a mistake releasing this mugshot. That this is just going to blow them away in the elections." So, it's
Awesome.
it's it's really so retarded because this was what they said about him when he was impeached the first time. Oh, if you impeach
Mhm,
Trump, you have guaranteed his victory. You've sealed it.
mhm.
The Democrats they're playing a losing game, and then he lost, like he lost. And then Kokumasa, you're telling me that the other candidates are not, they're not, the other candidates are not important. Well, what makes you think they are not important? Why is Trump anointed? Is there like a selection process where you just pick one anointed person for the job and just run with it? Let the other candidates have their say as well, and let the people determine who they want to have as their, okay, first of all, as their Republican
I'm
nominee,
gonna be.
then. So when you
Oh
discount other
boy.
candidates, it makes a mockery of democracy.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and you are gonna
Yeah.
love my point. I think Trump deserves the Republican nomination. I actually watched the whole debate last night.
Hmm.
Um, Trump deserves to win.
Trump does what?
He deserves to be the Republican nominee.
So they can lose in the general election.
Well, I don't care if he, who knows, he might win. But my point is that all those 8 MFs, dude, they are cowards. They have no spine. They know Trump is a problem. But when they were asked who's gonna vote for Trump, um, what was it, 6 of the 8? And the other two, Christie was like kind of, Asa Hutchinson is not going to be president, so he can. Who cares how he votes? 8 people. I don't even know why don't they just not waste of taxpayer money.
Because they are all vying for the vice president job.
You
At
know
least
what?
that's what
Not
people are saying.
one of them. Not one. Pence. Why didn't Pence tell them you don't want to be vice president? They might put out a noose for you. You remember, like, hang Mike Pence?
Hmm.
It
Remember what?
to me, it's just ridiculous. Why would you want to be Trump's vice president? They
Hmm.
might hang you. No, sir. Now tell me, yeah, I'm making a joke, but tell me that's not a possibility.
Yeah, it is. It's a possibility, but people want to be close to the center of power, and they might not be
You know
thinking
what?
through.
Well, okay. I think you make a point. Normal people would fear for their lives.
Hmm.
These people who want power and prestige, um, oh my goodness. I'd rather hang out with my son and be an old man drinking beer on a porch and watching the trees than being hung by 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 a MAGA crowd.
And the funny thing is that Trump is so disloyal that almost everybody who's ever had his back, he's backstabbed them, he said trash about them. If you claim that everyone is terrible to you, maybe it's just you. Maybe you should look at yourself. The whole world can't
Touche.
be 50.
I,
Uh,
I
so, uh,
honestly, um, he must be a good father, though.
okay.
Well, I mean, his sons are like,
So, cool, Kumasi, you're asking for the content creators, the right wingers. So, Matt Walsh said something, Ben Shapiro said something.
wait,
Uh,
is he saying? Oh my God, Cool Kamasi is a Matt Walsh fan? Oh my
no,
goodness.
he's asking me the content creators on the right wing Twitter, people that are going nuts over this, over the Trump that was released, right? So I'm giving him some names. I'll
Hmm.
give him some names. Sorry, Stanley, go ahead.
Oh no. I mean, I'd ask. Cool. I wish he would hop on.
Yeah, Kokuma, say hop on. Let's have a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I will listen to everything he has to say. I just think. I think my bottom line is thank God there's some cool, good Republicans. You may just disagree with some stuff, but damn it, where are the even folks like Megan McCardle or Brett Stevens
Mm.
or what's his name, who's a Catholic, by the way. That you know, I don't find him. He's another New York Times dude, but he's a good guy. I just don't agree with him. Um, there are tons of good Republicans, and none of them are Trump.
So let me read something that Colin Rugg, another right wing person on Twitter, said. He said, "Imagine indicting Donald Trump 3 times, hyping the fourth indictment up to the best one yet, finally getting to be able to get a mugshot of the former president, releasing the mugshot, and then Trump throws the mugshot in a fundraising email, comes back to X, and steals the whole show from you.
Mm.
Legendary energy shift. This is what a human being says, that this is a legendary energy shift. That this is
Well, I don't know what to say to that other than if I don't know what to say about that other than if you're a Trump fan, if you actually, dude, you know me, Charles. I'm not Mr. Christian. I was raised, you know, in a Catholic household. I have respect for values and all this stuff, but oh my goodness. Um, I I think that I think of the whole point about was it Chesbro or someone. The comment was, well, if we enact our plan and people protest, that's what um, um, that's what the military's for. That's martial law, that sort of thing. And then I
mm,
think back to during the summer of 2020, I think it was, when Trump wanted to go across the street to hold up a Bible upside down. They flash banged a crowd protesting. And he walked out. Millie walked out, which I think he has, kind of regretted. Um,
mm,
that was a preview. Americans protesting something they felt important enough to take time out of their day to protest. They weren't violent, they were just protesting. They get flashbanged so Trump can walk over to a church and hold up a Bible. Trump isn't a Trump dude. I'm pretty much an atheist, and it raised the hairs on the back of my neck.
give your life to Jesus, Stanley. Coco Massey, welcome to
Dude,
the
you know what? It's even better than that. Um, I will die,
yeah.
a heathen. I will die a heathen. But one
Sorry.
thing's for sure, I'm not going to hurt people to hold up a Bible upside down.
All right. So let's
You,
get to
you
Kumasi.
made a lot of accusations. Let me ask you,
Who,
um,
me or Charles?
both of you gentlemen, let's
Charles,
because
Charles doesn't
Charles
make
did say
accusations.
Trump.
I do.
Charles did say Trump turned his back on everyone.
Yeah.
So that would mean entirely everybody, right? That would everyone we're
Because
talking about, not a majority, not some, not
what is
none. We're talking about
what you're
everyone,
doing?
right?
What you're doing here right now?
No,
You
we got to go by the words you're saying. We got to go by the words you're
Oh
saying.
dear.
Kumasi,
A
Unless you give us,
literalist.
no. Kumasi, you know very well that it's not literally possible for it to be everyone. You know the point I was trying to make.
yes, that's why we would say
So
a
don't
good number of people. We would say a good number. I don't know you very well. I only talked to you a few times, but
Well, let me address that question.
no, Stanley, let him
And
finish.
I'm gonna. Okay,
Stanley,
Charles, you go ahead then, because I was gonna be blunt,
Kumasi, go
all
ahead.
dude.
right. Let me
If
ask you
you
this.
if if you
Let's
literally thought that
Stanley,
everyone,
Stanley, Stanley, you're
Stanley
please
is.
let him point.
Yeah, I think you got some satellite issues, man.
Okay.
But okay. Now you mentioned Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. Let's focus on those two. Now, how long has you known Matt Walsh to be a part of this conservative commentary?
I repeat that question.
How long have you known for Matt Walsh to be a conservative commentator or in doing conservative commentary?
For as long as I've known Matt Walsh, he's been a conservative commentator.
They said as only as far as 2014. That is a 9-year run. So
So what's the point?
so you mean to tell me that someone in 9 years can have more influence than a commentator? Well, I'm just
No,
asking.
no,
Let
who's
me just
talking
ask.
about influence here?
I, no, because we're going. Hold on, can I? You said earlier
Okay.
everyone. So we're giving what's the word? We're giving things in depth,
Dude,
right? Okay, my God. Do what? What do you want to say, man?
Stanley. Stanley.
Okay, now Ben Shapiro, did he not work for NPR?
I don't care what he worked
No,
for. He could
I'm
have
just
worked.
I'm asking a question for context. Did he not work for NPR?
I don't know. I
He
don't know.
did.
Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
He
So
did. He
what's
actually was a part of NPR. Now NPR is a left wing news outlet. Am I incorrect or am I correct in saying that?
what's your point?
so
Ben
does
Shapiro
that
is a
So what
mean
I'm
that
hold on,
Ben
can I
Shapiro?
oh my God. Can I ask okay, you asked me what does that mean? Now, if you are someone who came from a left wing to a right wing space, right? You're going from one side to the other. You're carrying those same ideals that you're carrying from the left wing to the right wing, right? So just like you're talking about Trump, right? Trump was a left winger, he's a right winger, right? I'm assuming, right? The same
Trump was,
policy that Trump was a Democrat.
yeah, he was Democrat most of his life.
So
So
so we're looking at this and we're talking about right wingers when we're majority of the people you're talking about were all former left wingers that carried that same attitude of when they were in the left wing into the right wing.
but it doesn't matter. They are right
How it
wingers
does,
now. It doesn't
but
matter.
why
They're
does it
right
not
wingers
matter?
now
Can you explain
because
that to me so I can
now
understand?
because they're right wingers now and they are pushing right wing narratives. So how are you
What
going
is
to
a
blame?
right wing narrative then? Can you explain that part? I didn't mean to interrupt. Can you explain that?
Okay.
What's a right wing narrative?
I told you that these guys are essentializing what Trump did, the mugshot that Trump released on Twitter, as though it's some master stroke. Oh, this just blows things out of the water, right? He has killed the election. He has shut down his opponent. He has taken the limelight by just releasing his mugshot on Twitter. And then they are drawing comparisons between Trump and Nelson Mandela, MLK, and other historical figures. That's the point I was making, right?
Now, hold
They're
that thought
making
real
it
quick.
seem as though it's one stroke of genius that Trump did by releasing his mugshot on Twitter. This and
But
then you are
is Twitter not a media outlet? Is Twitter not a media outlet?
I don't really
So if
get it.
Twitter's a media outlet, right? Hold on. If Twitter's a media outlet, hold
It's
on. You
X.
just hold on. You mentioned Martin Luther
It's
King.
not
I'm not
Twitter
comparing.
anymore.
I'm
It's
not.
X.
Okay, Twitter X, whatever. You mentioned that Twitter is a media outlet, just like
Mhm.
Nelson Mandela releasing his mugshot for
Oh,
whatever
for
media outlet.
God's
I'm
sake.
not comparing it. You brought it up. I did not bring it up. So why, if that's their opinion, why not argue their opinion with them instead of telling us, "Oh, these right wingers are going extreme"? How is that extreme? I want to know how is that extreme because
I
words
didn't
do
say
matter.
I say they are going nuts. They are going bananas over it. Yeah, but
Yes,
probably you
in
don't
your
know.
figurative speaking, your figurative way of speaking. How are they going?
You don't know that this is a stream to mock the ridiculousness of what the right wing Twitter is doing, right? So don't take it too seriously. I'm just mocking them, thinking
No,
that
I'm just
for them
asking.
to think that what Trump did is some genius masterstroke. It's just silly. That's
No,
my
it's not.
point.
It's not. But the fact is that mugshot did take over precedence over all these guys debating the same night. Was it the same night, the night before? I think it was Wednesday night that they debated, right? And
Mm.
the next night, Trump was arraigned because actually, if you want to talk about it, Trump's interview with Tucker Carlson actually garnered more people watching it than the primary. Am I lying?
Well, no,
No,
that is
Do you
so
mean
cool.
oh,
Twitter impressions as views? I mean, when someone
no.
just
I'm just
scrolls,
asking. Eh, I'm
someone
just asking.
no you, but you know how Twitter works, right? When someone scrolls through the video, whether they watch
Yeah,
the video or not, it's counted as a view. So many of those
yeah.
things
Just
are
like
just
ratings. Ratings. If you watch a certain segment and demographic wise, quarter hour, they would do that. But they did not release quarter hours for these debates or anything yet. So we don't know. We just go by who watched and who didn't. So we don't know. There's no quarterly hour results, nothing with the ratings to show. Okay, these people have watched the debate between Vivek, Mike Pence, and who's the other guys in there? Tim Scott, whoever. I don't know. So I'm, I, I don't know. To me, I think, and I've seen this with a lot of people against Trump, and I'll just give my personal. I'll shut up after this. It seems that when one person of the right speaks, it speaks for all of the right, and it's easy for people to make content off of it. But if the left does something and we try to speak about it, if we're Republicans or conservatives or whatever you call it, then we are the ones considered. We have to be questioned on why we are talking about what we're talking about in terms
okay.
of.
So
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yes, sorry, I still didn't mean to cut you off before Stanley comes in. But Kumasi, this is you're getting it wrong, right? First of all, most why I don't really cover left wing content is because I find it uninteresting. I find it really really uninteresting to begin with, right? So what you're doing now, it's like you're doing like a whataboutism. Oh, what about when the left does this? I don't care, right? If I see something interesting about the left I need to ridicule, I ridicule it, right? But most of the time I
Okay.
don't, you know.
Okay.
So,
So let me ask you real quick. Is it for content?
huh?
Is it for content? The right wing media outlets is, let's just say they get better content for people to talk about.
No, I just find it more interesting to talk about, right wing nonsense, to
So
critique right wing
Actually,
nonsense.
so it is
that
interesting
is
to talk about. It
that
gives
is
something to
a
talk.
oh my
Go
goodness.
ahead, family.
That is
What you got?
that is a fascinating question. The right
Because
no
yeah,
no
go
no
ahead.
no no. Please expand on that. So your and I think you're right by the way. The right wing gives us, the general public, more stuff to talk about. Please expand on that.
Well, I would
Because
say
I think you're right. The left is
I'll
boring.
say this, and I'll say this for a while. The left doesn't have a polarizing figure anymore. The last polarizing figure the left had was Obama. They've been
And why
trying to
was
find.
It's
Why?
kind of a
Well,
sidebar.
because
no, bro.
because of
Let's
the
go. Let's
games.
go. No,
Well, no, sidebar. Why was Obama? And then move on with
okay.
your point.
Well, we would go with the obvious. He's black, right? And
Okay, good
he
enough.
hold on,
We don't
hold
have
on.
to. We don't have to say more.
All right. Well, I'll say to Stanley and the other gentleman, he's black and he's youthful. He was youthful for the time of being president. It was a new face,
Interesting.
just like
Okay.
Trump was a new face, correct?
No, Trump has been around for like years
He
since the
has, but has
'70s.
he made it past? Has he made it past the
No,
primary?
dude, Trump was on game shows, etc.
No, we're
He
talking
was a
politics.
known
Okay,
figure.
I'm going to do Stanley. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about politics. We're
Well,
not
no,
talking about game
I'm
shows.
literally talking.
We're not
Trump
talking about game
was.
shows. Oh, go
Well,
ahead.
you brought up that Trump, and you know this, donated to the Clintons, so he was known politically. You know what his leanings were. You can't just go, Trump was a newcomer to politics.
Okay, I just said he
Am I
didn't
right or
make it out.
wrong?
You are right, but did you not listen
Okay,
to what I said?
I
I
will
said,
stop there.
hold on. Did I just say Stanley that he
You did
never made it out the primaries? Did I just say that
until,
prior to 2016, he never
well,
made it
he
out of the
never
primary?
ran.
2008, he tried to run, he couldn't get in.
Trump did?
Kind of like 2008. This was the whole uproar after why Obama's birth certificate, who released it,
Oh no, no,
all
no!
that. That
Trump wasn't running for office.
what was he running for?
I have no clue. You tell
Okay,
me.
I don't know either. Then
You
I might be the
what
one that's wrong.
office? What office was he running for?
I could have sworn he was running for presidency, but I might
It
be wrong.
wasn't.
You could have sworn.
I was wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. So yes, what you say, Charles? Go ahead.
Yeah, you're wrong. Trump did not run. He wasn't running for president.
Okay. All
And
right.
the
Cool.
first
Cool.
time he ran,
But
he
no,
got
no,
it.
no. Charles, can I beg you? Please go on, Kamasi, because I honestly, I'm
Mhm.
not BSing you. I'm not being, you know, facetious. Why are today's Republicans more headline grabbing than the left? This is,
All right.
dude,
Hold
you
on.
might
Hold
have
on. That's a
hit
good
the nail
question.
on the head.
But hold on. Can you go further
I
with
will
that?
mute.
You said you go further on that because that's a general question. Headline. Can we just get in
Well, no,
specific?
why you made the point that, and I think Charles did too, that the
Yeah.
right is more interesting.
To me,
And I accept. Well, no, I I agree with you, Charles. I'm not being facetious. I think by and large, both of you are right. The right gets more headlines, especially after 2016. There's Marjorie Taylor Greene, etc.
Mhm.
So I need y'all to explain it because I've been wondering, oddly enough, I not BSing. Y'all tell me, I will mute.
Okay. I'll let Charles go because I've been talking for a while. Sorry, Charles. Yeah.
okay. So for me, I just think that my interest in things shift over time. So like maybe like last year, I was more concerned with, or I was more interested in covering the left wing nonsense, right? The gender stuff and the race stuff and all that. There's something about me. I get bored easily with certain things. If I've said something before, saying it over and over and over again just bores me, right? That's why I don't really listen to Glenn Lowry anymore because it's almost like the same show every time. I've heard it before, so nothing new. So right now, I think I find it more interesting to talk about um, because of my decision this year to critique conservative viewpoints. So I find it more interesting to talk about the nonsense that's going on the right. Once I see something on the left that is nonsense, I just ignore it because I've dealt with it before. There's no point raising it again. So that's what's going on. Tomorrow it might change. I might be talking about. I might find something else interesting and want to talk about it at that point in time. So it's nothing really that big of a deal. Oh, we didn't let unpopular talk. Unpopular has left. So unpopular, please, when you
Sorry,
try to
man.
come back in, so that you can say something. Yeah. So that's it.
Well, let me you know um before I don't know, I was 45, which is some years ago. I grew up in the South, as you know. Um, my parents grew up in Jim Crow, and they are still around. Um, they are still together, over 80. So, I've had that Larry elder, educated parents. Fred will call it bougie, all this stuff. I've had a lot of advantages. Um, I was in the Navy, just all this stuff. And I never really thought about it until I got time to read. And, I won't go into details about why I have time to read and no, I wasn't in jail. Um, I knew the history because of my mother and, you know, that sort of stuff. But I got to read it in detail. I was just kind of like, hey, lawn needs to be mowed. Kid needs music lessons, soccer, all this stuff. And then, I had time to read. And in my opinion, that's the worst thing that a black American can do because, I used to go, well, daddy, it's not that bad. Um, and it's still not that bad. Things are better, but the one thing that I really find problematic is white America specifically wants to let bygones be bygones. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is we need to not so much concentrate on the bad stuff. We need to be patriotic. And um, I think we need to know it all. White kids need to know it all. Black kids need to know it all. And I just think that trying to, uh, I find people like DeSantis and quite frankly, Christopher Rufo, all these guys, and Glenn, and the rest of the menagerie. I find them just kind of like Charles, boring. You know, kids, you don't need to know the details. You have to know the highlights.
Okay.
The devil is in the details.
You're right on that. Now, you asked me and Charles why the left or the right, is got the headlines, correct? Is that what you asked, Stanley? Can you repeat that question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, it all has to do with American culture. If you look back at all our presidents from modern memory from the '60s, from JFK to Nixon to Reagan to the
Hmm.
first Bush to
Hmm.
Clinton, you all have polarizing figures. That's what this
Name one.
modern name one polarizing figure.
Hmm.
I'll go random. I'll go with Bush one.
Willie Horton.
Willie Horton.
Reagan. Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Okay.
Want to go farther?
But when you say polarizing, Willie Horton was
I
polar.
mean, literally.
Okay, can you
Um,
explain how? I'm young. You're older than me, so you throw these
well,
names.
I'm not that much
Educate
older, I
me.
hope.
Oh, I'm a youngster.
All I
I'm
have
in
to
my 30s.
say, well, yeah, I'm a little bit older, but all I have
Exactly.
to say is Republicans and their entrepreneurship, their individuality, their patriotism, nothing wrong with that. I have a problem when they try and go, the Civil War was about ending slavery. That's just literally not true.
But
They
that's that.
will. No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
just.
no, no.
But go with what I'm
You're
talking
talking,
about.
dude,
I'm not. I didn't
dude.
bring up. I did not bring
Well,
up the
let me
Civil
finish
War.
my point. Let me finish my point.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, the Civil War was about ending slavery. Is that
No, I'm not. I'm not in the SKC camp. That's between you and SKC. I've seen you guys
okay? I
go back and
understood,
forth with
and
that.
I hope SKC hops on.
Because I
All I'm,
can I say this
well,
real quick? Can I say this real quick?
please do,
Yeah.
Let's
please
not
do.
take the conversation to where it's not.
I'm not. I
Let's
wasn't
Please do.
alive for the Civil War, so I don't know what happened. I can
Well,
only
neither
go
was
by
I.
the
I'm not that old.
yeah. But you and SKC had that debate. That has nothing to do with. You asked me a
But let
specific
me
question.
ask
Why
you a
did
question.
go ahead?
Do you think that I wasn't alive during the Civil War? Does that mean you're not affected by American history? Are you
I didn't.
independent?
No, you're not. But here's the thing: we're going by. I'm mentioning modern presidency. I mentioned from. I specifically said from the '60s on. I mentioned those names. That's that's why I said like when you ask a question, why are they grabbing headlines? It's
Have you
obvious.
heard of Lee Atwater?
Stanley,
Yes, I've
Stanley,
Atwater. I
Stanley,
have heard of Lee Atwater. What is your point?
Stanley,
Go back and
Stanley.
research Lee Atwater.
I will go back, but let's talk about what we the current event right now. Let's focus on that. You asked a
No.
question. You asked a
Um,
question.
my question is, do you think history, do you think now is independent of the past?
No,
If
but
you're born tomorrow, the past doesn't matter. That seems to be what you're saying.
no, I didn't because that's why I mentioned the '60s. That is that
Hmm.
not the past?
Well, the 60s
Is
is the
that not?
recent past. I was
But it's
born in
still
the
the past,
60s.
right? It's still the past, correct? Recent or
Okay,
not, it's still the past, right?
so my question is, does the past affect now?
It doesn't. It does. Hold on, because that's when I mentioned my point about being polarizing. All the
Okay,
figures from JFK on were polarizing figures. They were figures that you saw on the TV screen. That's why
but see, that's
America
not
is
my
moved by it.
question.
Then
Does the past affect today?
does the
That's my
past
question.
affect today?
Yeah,
No, and I'll
okay.
tell you why.
Then I have your answer.
All right, and I'll tell you why. Because you're only including past from Civil War, and you're forgetting the recent past. The past that people can at least go back and talk to their grandparents. That you mentioned your family, right? You mentioned your family of what 80 years.
Well, my grandparents don't have high regard for some of the stuff they went through during Jim Crow. So
Um,
yeah, what they said affects my present. I'm still alive. They're not.
okay, so how did
My
let's go there. All right,
question
who you want to
was,
go there? Let's go
does
there.
the past affect today?
And I answered no. Now, does the past affect you today?
Yes,
Why?
because I remember the things my grandparents said. Be careful of this. Not everyone is your friend, etc., etc. Your grandparents, my grandparents, are not alive today. I met them in the past. Does what your grandparents or parents teach you affect you today? Or do you don't listen to your parents? You just do whatever occurs to you today? Or do you listen to advice?
You'll always listen to advice. That's how you grow. That's why. That's what when you
E-
said
e-
that.
e-
Hold on. You said something very important. You said that everyone should know it all. I disagree that everyone should not know it all. If you know it all, what's the point of learning?
I didn't say no at all. I
You
said
did. You
know
said
the
black kids.
past.
No, you did.
Hardly.
You did say know it all.
No one knows it all. My question was, do you listen to advice from your parents and your grandparents for their experience was in the past? Do you
Okay,
the
so
past
Go
affects
ahead, Tom.
today?
yeah, let me jump in. We have to center this conversation, right? So,
It's getting lost. Yeah, sorry.
Stanley, you asked whether the past affects the present. Absolutely,
Good.
absolutely. The
That's
past
really,
affects.
you've answered the question.
But
Kamasi couldn't.
let me
I'm not,
explain.
I said no. I said no. I said no.
So the thing is that we are not so disconnected from the past, because every decision that someone makes at any point in time has an impact on
Mm-hmm.
whatever is happening right now, right? So to varying degrees, right? It might be to a large extent, it might be to a small extent, it might be, but to just say the past has no impact in the present is no, it's totally wrong.
Yeah, but the reason, can I answer why I said no? He
Okay.
disregarded when I said the modern past. So he's going with the Civil War, which was getting lost, and I was going to at
Dude,
least
Civil War. I talked about my
Stanley,
grandparents and my
Stanley, you
parents.
asked a question. You asking
Dude,
him? No,
Stanley,
no.
please. Sorry,
Stanley,
Kumasi.
relax. Your
my
blood pressure.
grandparents
Your
weren't
blood pressure.
alive during the Civil War.
Your blood pressure, Stanley. But anyways, what I was the reason why I was saying the figures were polarizing. That's American culture. That's why the headlines are grabbing right now. If you look at the figures that the right has, right? DeSantis, Trump, Vivek, Pence. You can even throw a Tim Scott on there. Even even right now, you can even throw a Abbott or a Kemp. Those figures, whether you find them popular or not, in this country here, they're very popular. They're polarizing figures. Just like 4 years ago when you had Obama, you had Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, you had all these figures that it was on the left. The swing was on the left side. But now, when you have those polarizing figures on the right, of course, the concept will be interesting. And I find it funny that we see these figures from NPR, like Ben Shapiro. All of a sudden, he's a conservative. I don't know how, but
So, do you think that Ben Shapiro is playing double agent? Do you think he's secretly working for the left?
no, I don't. I don't think that. But he's a journalist. So journalism doesn't have a particular side. Would you agree?
Mm, well, I think they're more concerned with the clicks. So to that
So
extent, I can say yes.
I understand. So you would just call them journalists.
I didn't get that.
Oh my, I'm sorry, I muted up. You would you call them journalists or you call them more commentators?
They're well, they are commentators. They are in the media space. So everything is merged. Everything is sort of they're doing everything together. People are going to them for news. So yeah,
Hmm.
they are journalists in that sense, even though they are not journalists in the traditional sense. But things evolve and change, and things take on new meaning, and that's what we're finding right now. So,
Yeah,
for me, what I see with these guys is, they are more about the clicks, they are more about the engagement, they are more about the controversy, right? That's why they will never. You see the kind of petty things that they engage with, right?
I do. Yeah.
Ben Shapiro made a 2 hours live stream about the Barbie movie. I mean, what sort of grown man sits down to make a full show about the Barbie movie, just whining and crying like a baby over the Barbie movie, right? So these guys, they are not interested in, and the kind of ridiculous things they say, you just know that they're not really interested in making things change. It's all about the money. It's America. It's about the money. It's about the
Mm.
Benjamins.
Now let me ask you this real quick
You
before they
know,
come on. Would you consider the journalism of America today substandard compared to other countries' journalism and commentating as of
I
today?
let me know when I can answer.
Go ahead,
I
Stanley. You got it. Let it rip.
I
Nope,
don't know
Charles,
about
you answer first.
yeah. So I don't know about other countries' journalism enough to make that comparison. But let me bring it down to my country, right? So for my country, you don't have this caricature of commercialization of news per se.
Mm,
What you have really is more uh, sort of censorship to not offend the government, right? The sensibilities of the government. Um, that's the downside of the kind of journalism in my country, right? So there are certain things that Americans can say on the media that you can't say. They'll just cut you off. The radio station will cut you off, and then the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission is going to fine the radio station for saying certain things. For example, you can't say, "Oh, this politician is corrupt," or "These politicians are thieves," or things like that. They will say, "Where's the evidence? Why are you saying something like that?" So that's the extent to which the our media here is bad, but they don't go to this sensationalizing rhetorical, attention grabbing, just culture war sort of nonsense that you see in American media. They really don't do that. So that's the much I can say by my understanding of our and American, but other countries' media, I don't know so much about it. I know
Mm.
little about the UK media, which is not so. It's more like a copy and paste of American media as well. So
Man, I gotta agree with you on that. Good one, man. I'm sorry, Stanley, and unpopular.
unpopular. Let's hear you.
Uh,
Let Stanley
yeah.
go. Sorry, Stanley,
Go
let
ahead,
him.
unpopular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I agree with what Charles was just saying about America. I don't know if it's just like a way to keep the job market a little bit more like, high up in numbers when it comes to all these many journalistic companies or journalism companies and whatnot. But I agree with you. They do run like the same stories on like, damn, like you can name like five right now: Washington Post, New York Times, Huffington Post. They run the same shit, with a different spin. But yeah, I guess to with me agreeing to your point, the reason why I would agree to your point is just like I feel like journalism when it comes to like other countries, like how you were saying yours, it could be a little bit more simmered down. It doesn't have to necessarily be about just like this infinite supply of like regurgitating the same rhetoric. They could sum it down to like more of a like proper way of doing it, like when it comes to the left. But to agree to what Stanley and what Kuma say, I was saying also, I feel like when it does come to the whole journalism thing, whatever, uh, like when it comes to the left and the right, I feel like with the left, like the Republicans or well, the right has became like the new left, like because like when it comes to politics, like the things that they care about, people see them as more important, like more homebound instead of like all this crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the left, like you hear about the shit on the left, you just be like, oh, this shit is you even start mentioning the stuff, you like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we're talking about these things that we don't want to offend anybody, but it's just like the right is always going to be like that more apparent truth of like what really hits home with people. And I feel like that's the battle because like when it comes to politics now, this would be my final thing. When it comes to politics now, like how can the left even compete with the right unless they go back to like a more foundational way of how they represent themselves on the left. But that's going to be hard to do. That's why you look at the presidential candidates right now for the left, there's only like three of them. So they can't even hold a debate, I don't think.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
All right, Stanley.
How can I top that?
You can always stop that. So, popular, or maybe I can ask Kumasi.
Yes.
Kumasi will go unpopular then Stanley. So, Trump is has been indicted, right? He's been um, he's been arrested and is out on bail, and he possibly might go to jail. And he still can run for president. I don't know how does that work. And because in my country, with a record like that, you can't run for public office. So how does it work in such a way that even a convict could potentially run for the president of the United States?
Well, he didn't have his due process yet, so he can't be even though he's arrested and indicted, he hasn't gone through the whole process yet. So once that process goes through, let's say he's guilty, then that will probably make him invalid. But up until that point, it won't happen. We won't know.
But some people are saying he needs to win the election and then pardon himself. Like I've heard that by some people on the right that
Well, if that's the case, I don't think that's true because that'll put you in more. What's that word? Uh, go to Stanley. I'll get the word for you, but I don't think he'll be able to do that.
okay, unpopular. What do you think?
I was gonna say that's interesting that you say that because now that they got him a mug shot and that they booked him, like, does that officially make him a felon? Like, is Trump a felon now? Like, is that
No, no,
like,
no, no, it doesn't.
but does like
We do. I don't think so.
Like, were they convicting him on a felony? There was a felony charge, right?
it,
Because I mean, I don't know any about these laws. Where I mean,
it,
they
nah,
said that he
it
incited
was a,
election fraud and like or whatever the January 6th, like they're hitting him with all these things. It's just like I can't even remember what they were hitting him with because it was just so much shit in the media. Like I don't even know what they got on him because they're saying so many
that's
things about him, so many different things. Yeah.
I I think it's more of a state charge than anything. If it was federal, it wouldn't get it would not get to this level of coverage, a federal trial. I think it's more of a state trial than anything because of the state of Georgia. That's why Jordan Reed earlier was saying that why did New York release his mugshot? They have did the same thing indicting him, but they didn't get his mugshot.
All right, Stanley.
Well, Georgia was the first state to take a mugshot. Would be the answer. Um, and I'm going to go back to, pretty much an original point. Knowing how we got here clarifies what's happening now. Um, as I said, Trump was not the worst president, but I think that he's in contention to be a president again. Trump is Trump. It's the people who vote for him that are the huge problem.
So I
There you
wanted
go.
you to answer, Stanley. Stanley, I needed you to answer the question on his eligibility for office, given his indictment and possible conviction.
He hasn't been convicted.
So if he's convicted,
His
can he still run?
indictment is not conviction.
I know, but
Yeah.
if he's convicted, can he still run?
No.
I don't know. You know what? I think Trump was making up rules after he lost an election. He was trying to figure a way around it. He can probably try again. Um,
I don't. I don't think so.
again, I'm gonna go back, and I know it's not popular to say Trump isn't the problem. His voters are the problem.
Hmm.
I hear that talk from the voters, but you're generalizing everyone in that basket then
Dude,
without giving
I
context.
said what I said. It
Yeah.
is
So
my
then,
conviction.
oh,
It's
that's your
my
opinion.
opinion.
That's your opinion. I'll respect that. I'll
Trump,
respect your opinion.
Trump is a symptom. He's not the problem. Can you accept how
No,
I? Can you
no,
accept
I
my
respect.
opinion?
I respect your opinion, but I disagree. But
Okay.
but
Would you vote for Trump?
I voted for Trump. I actually voted for him twice.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't have much more to say.
Yeah, I've been voting Republican since '04.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Yes, Casey, welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Good,
Hey,
good,
yes,
good.
see what's up, man?
SKC. Good to hear from you.
Oh, good to hear from all of you as well. I was wanted to chime in on the journalism piece. I think that there are journalists, true journalists, that are still in America, but um, and not to sound insulting, but I think it's just mm, a symptom of the social media world and its influence. Real journalists aren't read anymore because people have too short of an attention span.
So you think it's the attention span that's making the journalism the way it is today?
Well, no, I think the field itself is what it is. It's being replaced by what Kumasi was stating earlier. Um, commentators, people who are paid to give their opinions about certain subjects instead of um, basically writing what they have researched or presenting what they have researched and then allowing the either the listener or the reader to use their own brain to make to form their opinion on it. Nowadays more people want to be reaffirmed their opinion than having someone just present the facts.
Okay. So, do you think that Trump can still run for president if he is convicted on any of these charges?
Yeah, I think you can. You probably will. Um, and I think a lot of this, I think, shows that I think it tells the hand of the other side in a lot of these matters, in that they're attempting to proceed with these things very quickly, and the timing of when they brought these things up. I mean, they've had what, over 3 years to do this stuff, but once the guy started to, I guess, make waves with being reelected, that's when they brought all of this stuff up. And they
Yeah,
want to have these trials before the election takes place, which typically with this type of information, let's say, well, Charles, you're from in Nigeria, but here in American law, say if you want to convict someone or you're pressing charges against someone, um, there's a time schedule of discovery where all of the evidence that you have gathered, you're supposed to give that over to the defense of the person so that they can have ample time to defend themselves. But like I stated, they've had close to over 3 years now at all this information that they state that they have, and yet they want to prosecute really quickly,
may I
and
ask
have the trial really quickly instead of allowing the same time to pass by.
a question, SKC? Um, do you think it's possible that um, the people prosecuting the case want to make sure they're very careful because Trump is a former president? You best have your ducks in a row. Do you think it might take time? Or should they do a shotgun trial?
Um, what do you mean by do you think it might
I
take?
mean, exactly that. Should they be careful before they bring a case against a former president?
They weren't
I
before,
would vote, I would say if I'm going to bring a case against a former American president
but they
who
weren't before.
obviously has power, you best step careful. You best be precise. You best bring a case that is going to hold up. Much like
Okay,
Trump when he, did his the 2020 election. We don't want to lose 62 of 63 cases in a court. A lot of those judges were Trump appointed. My question to you, and I'll restate it, before you bring charges against a former American president, it might take 3 years to make sure your ducks are in a row. Would you say being careful is a good thing?
well, well, on In two ways, I think
That's
you're
a yes no
responding.
question.
Actually, it's not. In two ways, I think that your question is is moot. One, they didn't, they weren't careful with all of the other charges, so that proves that that's not, they're not trying to be careful. Two, even if you wanted to be, if you want to go with the argument of they're just being careful, well, then that means that at the same time, you wouldn't care to try to push it very quickly, because you would say, no, we want to follow all of the details of the law
That was
uh,
my
and to
point. Be
and
careful.
to,
Don't push.
you didn't let me finish.
Of course I didn't. You're repeating
You
my
you,
argument.
you that's, I'm not
Finally,
repeating
let
your
him
argument.
finish.
The careful part would be to allow the defense to have discovery, because if you do not give them the ample time to have discovery, then it's going to seem as though that you're being biased. And the very first thing that the lawyers are going to do on the opposite side is that they're going to push and say, look, they have been gathering evidence and been sitting on evidence for 3 years, and yet they have not turned over all of this stuff over to us until now, and they expect that for us to go over 3 years of information in 1 month.
So what you're saying is being
That's not being
careful,
careful.
being careful has worked against the prosecutors.
No, what
Three
I'm
years
saying is,
of 3 years of work making sure they're right works
no,
against them.
that's not my argument. My argument is if you have taken 3 years to gather your evidence and to put it forth, then just like in any other legal case, you would allow the defense to be able to have ample time, because the last thing that you would want to happen is for 3 years of information and work to be put forth, and then you try to push it too fast, and then the judge throws it
Mm,
out saying you're being biased.
question for you. So 3 years of gathering evidence carefully, correctly, is too much for the defense lawyers to handle. We don't have enough time to sit through it. Is that the point you're making?
No, that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that just as when
They
you
took
have
too long. Sounds like what you're
No,
saying.
no, Stanley, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that
well,
they have taken so much time to gather this evidence, right? Now
To
they
be
need to,
careful.
yeah, to be careful, which is fine. That part is not, there's no problem with that part. The other part is that the defense themselves need ample time to review those evidence, right? And
Oh, I see.
that's what he's saying. So you can't
So,
do
so essentially, we
on
need to give time for the defense to sit through another 3 years. Is that what you're saying?
no, no, not 3 years. Ample time.
Well, hey, equal, equal. 3 years to gather, 3 years to sift through it.
Nope,
Well, as you
nope.
can see, Charles,
That's
that's not my argument. My
yeah.
argument would be along the lines of what you would see when, let's say, like a major company is being sued over something. A lot of times, the prosecution will take a little bit more time to get all of their ducks in a row. But at the same
Yeah.
time, once they get all of that information in and they sue a major company, they will judges usually give that major company somewhere between 6 to 9 months in order to go through all of the information and to present a viable defense. And
Can
that's
I
why
ask a
that
question?
and that's why lawsuits, particularly involving large companies and so forth, take so long, is because you have to give ample time for
Mm.
discovery, and they seem to be hell bent on not trying to give Trump his time for discovery, because they are afraid that if the dude gets elected, that all of that gets thrown out away.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what they're really worried about. And
A
and the,
one
and then
hundred
the and
percent.
then the other point of that, Charles, is this. Um when the evidence that they have put forth is the same evidence that they had about 2 years ago. So it wasn't the point about it wasn't the point about, oh, we need to go through this with a fine comb tune. I mean a fine tooth comb. The point is that they weren't going to do it unless he ran.
Can I
So they're
ask you a
not
question?
so they're not actually trying to seek quote unquote justice. They're just
Mm,
trying to prevent someone from running.
interesting. So you think
Mm.
it's politically motivated? Yeah, I can definitely see your point.
But let me, do you think that, honestly, SKC, um, do you think Trump committed no crimes at all?
I don't care.
Oh, okay. We can stop there. You don't care. I've got my answer.
SKC, why don't you care that someone who is running for the president of the United States, why don't you care whether he committed a crime or not?
Um,
Want to
because at
add
this point,
one quick question though? Are
well, if I
companies
could answer
is running for the president
if,
like?
if I could answer one question at a time. Concerning Charles' question, I could come right back to yours, Stanley. Why don't I care? Because when it comes to those things, so far as like in the political realm, um, n- on both sides, they are not. They're playing like this two tiered um, sense of justice. You literally have a a man that is on record doing deals with other countries and and his with his son. Nothing is being done. So I'm like, hey, if that's how it is now, then who cares about any of that stuff?
So it means you don't care about America, you don't care about American politics, you don't care about you know because the thing is it shouldn't be a call for Trump not to be prosecuted. It should be a call for Biden to be prosecuted. It should be a call for Hunter Biden to be prosecuted. And I don't see what the Republicans are doing about that. Yeah, they
But
are.
the problem is
See,
the
Why
person,
aren't they doing anything?
the person who committed the crimes is Joe Biden's son.
That's not true.
Prove me wrong.
Sure, it's already been proven.
No, it
By
has not been proven. The president of the
Stanley,
United
can you let him
States,
answer the question?
dude,
Let's
hey,
it's
can I
listen.
say
already
something?
it's already been proven
Uh,
that Biden lied about whether he knew or not what his son was doing.
dude,
It has been written in
shit.
stone. The emails go back to him. The numbers go back to him.
may
The bank records go back to him. There were
evidence.
Mic check.
whistleblowers. There were whistleblowers with the Fed that said the same thing. You have people in different countries that stated the same thing. Heck, you had a guy that stated that he has Biden on camera stating, "Yeah, if you didn't do what I told you to do, you were going to lose your job," and he lost his job. It's like, come on, it's a given.
Right.
Yeah, but that's about another country. That's not about the US. It was doing
Well,
something in the interest of the US. It wasn't.
that's called treason, Charles,
How is it treason?
because you are selling your office, uh, your your office within the government in order to make money for yourself. That's treason.
N- No, no, no. Did, did he receive money? He said no. He said the one I know of is was when he said you have to fire a certain prosecutor. If not, this aid money that is supposed to come to you will not come. That this aid money that is supposed to come to Ukraine will not come. That's negotiation. That's leverage. And I'm sure he can say he was doing it for American interests. He was pushing American interests, and he was using the aid as a leverage to push American interests. So how is that exactly is that treason?
Okay, and that's fine. The issue with that, Charles, is this: whenever any politician does engages in any type of business, they're supposed to fill out um, they're supposed to fill out tax forms to disclose this with on their side of the government, so that it can be looked through and verified and so forth. In all of those deals, none of those forms were ever filled out. In fact, shell companies were created so that those forms didn't have to be filled out.
Okay, so what are the Republicans
Okay,
doing?
sorry.
SKC, what are the Republicans doing about this?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that I don't. Okay, yeah, we go with the laughter. I don't think it has anything
Yeah.
to do with. I don't think it has anything to do with
Oh my
what
goodness.
are Republicans doing about this, or any of that stuff. What I don't even I don't even understand why people defer to that line of thinking, because it should be, whoa, 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 whoa. If this person is breaking the law, the government in total should be doing something about it, not just
Can I
one
ask you a
side of a
question?
political party.
Yeah, but you seem to think that it's a political party right now that's victimizing Donald Trump. You seem to think that it's the Democrat machinery working to victimize Donald Trump. Then you need to have a counter from the other Republican Party to to balance things out. This is politics, right? If as you claim the other side is not playing fair, they are taking advantage of the judicial process to prosecute the political rival, then
Mhm.
the Republicans need to do something of a similar sort if they have credible evidence, right? Okay, Joe Biden's son, is involved in this deal. Joe Biden is involved in this deal, and we think that the crime has been committed. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing what they are pushing, right? You can't just fold your arms and be crying, woe be me, and then you're doing nothing. And then you SKC are now saying, well, because Joe Biden got away with the crime, Trump should get away with the crime as well. No, I think you should be crying. What you should be fighting for is for anybody, whoever they are, that has broken the law should go in for it, whether it be Trump, whether it be Joe Biden. It shouldn't be a case of one has gotten away, the other should go away too.
Yeah, that's why I said concerning that whole ordeal, I could care less about it, because all of it is not predicated on justice. It's predicated on some sort of political aim, which is like, why play those games? It's like we're not we're people
Oh,
are trying to use quote unquote justice as a proxy for, I don't like this person.
can I get you to look at my question in the back chat, SKC?
Sure. What's your question?
Dude, Speaker of the House is Republican. Who is MAGA? 6'3" conservative Supreme Court. If Biden was like guilty of something, you can't. The Speaker of the House is literally the third in line for president. Where the apparatus is there politically. My argument is politics, the US government is not like a business. Dude, if they had the goods on President Biden, they'd have taken him down like yesterday.
Well, I don't
No,
think
no,
that
no, no, no. Why haven't they been able to do it?
the same reason that Pelosi wasn't able to do it.
Which is
because when a person is in that office, there are so many different things that are at their disposal that um, that protect them from outright attacks that you
but
can't.
Trump was
It,
impeached while he was in office twice.
right, and what does that mean to you, Charles?
So whatever it means, the Republicans have not even moved a finger to do anything
Right,
about Biden. Not even
like
one.
okay, so just to let's slow that down just a little bit. Let's say um, with what you just stated, what did that accomplish?
What did it
They did it
accomplish?
twice. They did it twice. What did it accomplish?
It was the first step towards something something else, right? Which is removal from office, right? And it
Right,
sent a
and it happened
message.
twice. But
It happened twice. Yes.
what was the result?
So, well,
Well,
the
can I
for the
answer
fact
that question quickly?
the fact that
Republicans saved his ass.
I'm just asking. The other side did
And
it
I'm
twice,
just going to give you the answer.
and I'm just at okay.
Trump
So
would have,
what
if
was the result?
Mitch McConnell had voted thumbs down,
So now we're going to
all
an
I'm
if.
saying
What was the
is
result?
the result was Republicans saved Trump's ass.
Like,
So
okay,
he stayed president. That was the
so,
result.
okay,
Hey,
okay.
hey,
So that
Charles,
happened. So that
can I say
happened
something?
twice,
Can I?
and nothing happened.
go ahead and
Yeah, I just want to ask everybody here a question. Like, with the whole thing surrounding Trump, right? It would seems like even like what you guys are talking about right now with the impeachments, with the two impeachments, right? Like a lot of people say he got in office. Like this is
Wasn't
like
there
Stanley was saying about
three?
the supporters. A lot of people would say, well, three. Well, like and Stanley, to your point, how you were saying that this has to do a lot with his supporters. My point is if Trump if Trump, let's say hypothetically, let's say January 6th didn't happen. Let's say the impeachments weren't on the table, the indictments wasn't on the table. Besides all the other things like trying to bring up like his taxes and whatever hidden money he got and all that other stuff they talking about. Besides all that, let's say if Trump had fair game right now, not to redirect the whole conversation, just like a simple question. So I get back to what you're saying. Do you think it would be fair game? Do you think if he just would have lost, because now he's playing the role of the sore loser, right? So it makes everything stick. Like let's say if the Dems were coming for him, it makes everything stick. You're playing it the position of the sore loser. Could Trump have just lost, accepted his loss, and ran again, fair game? Do you guys think that?
Not based on history. Theodore Roosevelt tried it, wasn't even close. Bull Moose Party, do y'all remember that?
Unpopular. I think everything that was done in the past actually aids in his popularity now. And to go back to
Oh,
and, and,
that
and to go
is
back
oh my goodness.
and to go back to your question, Charles, with why isn't the quote unquote other side doing this? Well, again, like I was asking you, what happened? What was the result of the two quote unquote impeachments? Nothing. So
Three.
then, why would it? Why, so okay, three. So then, why would anyone want to follow that impotent strategy?
because politics is about optics, right? And
Oh,
Right.
you want to give the impression that you're doing something, even if so. See, even if the Republicans don't they know that it's not going to. For example, I definitely knew the Democrats knew that they will not be able to remove Trump from office, but they were making a statement with the impeachment, right? That's what politics is. So the Republicans can't sit down and say, well, we are not sure it's going to work, so we're not even going to
mm,
try in the first place. There's a
Well,
reason why you have those
I
ah,
think
processes.
one of the issues that happened was is that they overplayed their hand,
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you actually made the other person look as if they're being attacked for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if they were to take that seriously and to try to do the same thing, you could fall into that whole strategy as well that's actually being played against them right now, because
Brilliant point.
the majority of the people that Stanley says are the problem, the 75
Yeah.
plus million people, um they, or for better or worse, they view him as a martyr. And the
Ooh,
more
wait,
that
hold it.
and the more that the other side presses, his martyrdom is going to continue to rise.
Let me make a slight
Right, I
counterpoint
agree with that.
because I think you're perfectly right, but I have a way different take. Your premise is right. Go ahead, unpopular.
I was just gonna say to go back towards the takes that we were having on journalism. It's crazy because Trump he went directly against the media, and I feel like even though I feel like he maybe shouldn't have done that, I always sit and I wonder. Well, I know plenty of the things. There's a gray area of what everybody could say what people may think, but it's just like to have went against the media right there, it makes me feel like, okay, Trump, you got all these people that's backing you saying you was doing the economy well, you was doing this, you were doing that, you were fighting at the border and whatnot. You got his pros and his cons. So when it comes to the fact that like I was saying, that he went against the media, does he not understand that the media just plays a simple little tool in this that doesn't have to really be your demise, to the fact, like, because let's just say he had a lot of campaign funders that was allowing him to rally like hell. Like he was rallying. Like I don't think nobody did more rallying than what Trump did. So it's just like, and you got to think about it, he has that money backing him. That's definitely what he had. So the fact that he took that loss, I'll say it once again, I'll reinstate it again. Like it's just this sore loser syndrome. But to go up against the media like that, being a Republican, and not just saying being a Republican, but just go up against the media like that, I'm not. It sounds like I'm siding with him, and I really don't want to do that. But it's just like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I say I'll digress from what I just said, because now I just kind of proves my own point wrong. Because I'm not like a Trump supporter or stuff, but I know people. I think one of the guys here said that he voted for Trump, and it's just like, it's like, wow, man, like he took on the media and he kind of won. But I don't feel like this is a L for Trump. He probably doesn't even feel like that. He's probably like, so what, whatever. But the fact that the coming at him so hard, he's just like, you never know how he feels about this at this current point. Because a lot of people just like, man, it'll be a slap on the wrist and this and that, and it's just like, I to I don't feel like it's going anywhere from here. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's dead in the water until further notice, and that's what it doesn't necessarily grind my gears that much. But it's just like when you're paying attention to, you like, this is kind of cringe, because with everything else that kind of transpired in the whole bowl of everything that was going on with that, it's like Ukraine, COVID, the things that's happening in Africa right now, all that is kind of like subjective to what's going on around his name. Like it's like a hub of Trump media. You know what I'm saying, Charles?
And
It's like a hub of
that's
Trump media right now.
that's the whole thing. Unpopular. It's like I think in certain ways, the the quote unquote media fell into a trap because the guy was in the media beforehand, and when you step away from the ethics and the ideals of true journalism and then get into more or less like gotcha moments and sensationalism and opinion commentating, you played right into his wheelhouse. So um just like you stated, a lot of these other major things that are going on, kind of just encircle the name instead of actually being true newsworthy items, because they got so sucked into making money off the dude's name in media that it's like they're stuck now. It's like they're like crack addicts because their business model actually suffered when he was gone. When he's quiet, their business model suffers.
Right. And it makes, and I'll say this, it makes, like Stanley was saying earlier, he didn't want to bring race into it. And I necessarily don't want to go there either, but it's just like, oh, it makes me feel so bad because it's just like I can't side with Trump at all. I can't do it because when you look at it, the establishment that he was trying to run, what stood for, man, like they had to come for him. Like, but they made it seem like it was easy. Like somebody just, snapped their fingers and was like, hey, we can't be having this. This guy thinks he's gonna win again. No, he's not. And he's not gonna like it. But now that all these allegations are brought up against him, it makes me feel like that's part of the ploy, right? Like, but that was his business. That's what he was doing. Like, that's his faults. Like, all the things that they're bringing up against him are his faults. So it's kind of like confusing because with these things actually being his fault, for them to like exercise on that is one thing, but for that to mean something to this political climate that's carrying on, that's another. Because now Biden's in office, right? And it's just like, okay, he's quiet. Like Biden is virtually quiet besides the fact that he exists in the hub of the Trump media. Basically, they demonize Trump, so they're backlashing on Biden now with the Hunter things. And really a lot of that stuff is like, it's not hard in the press like all of the Trump stuff. It's kind of like backseats all the other stuff, the Hunter Biden stuff and them trying to dig up a skeleton out the closet on Biden and his family. And like they said something about the Maui, because Maui just got set on fire and they was trying to say that Biden was like staying in some $1 million mansion or something, trying to make it seem like he doesn't care. He's like this quote unquote populist, kind of like how Trump was or something like that. And it's just like, it's just like I think one of you guys say history tends to repeat itself. Like this makes good political tension. It's like it's been seesawing. I'll say because I'm not that old, so it's been seesawing since like Clinton. You know what I'm saying? This thing's been seesawing since Clinton, and it's just like it's going up and down, up and down. And the only thing I can say, I don't want to just flip it, but I don't know who to choose in this political race right now. But it's just like the prospects that are on the table. You're more likely to point a finger at one of them and be like, you know what? Let's go with that guy right there. You know what I'm saying? Let's go with him this time. Because it's just like, we need a break from this shit. Like real talk. I feel like the American people, like Stanley would say America took a loss. And I agree with him. Because we need a break from this shit. Like this shit is starting to get to the point where it's just like for people that do care about this, and it makes sense for you to care. It's just like, man, we need a break from this shit. Because let's say 2024 rolls around and Trump is just like, yeah.
Well, think about it from this perspective. Everything that you just stated, I would say 90% of it I agree with. But would the dude be able to be looked upon as like a martyr if you didn't have significant issues going on in the country? Would he lose
it depends on
the economy, if the economy was good, if
I would love to
border
hop in here.
situation was okay, if crime and stuff wasn't going crazy in major cities, if there wasn't the whole Ukraine thing wasn't going, if all of those things were settled and not as volatile as they were, would the guy even stand a chance?
No. I feel like there'd be better options to look at. You'll be like, you know what? The flames, there aren't any flames. You'll be like, well, the flames aren't burning like they are right now. Like we're dealing with the regular. You know what I'm saying? let's side with this guy. But you have to think about it, SKC. The flames weren't this hot, prior to Trump being out of office. Like when he got elected.
Exactly. And see, that's the real problem. That's the real problem because if it in order for the quote unquote martyrdom thing to occur, you need really, really bad conditions to where you have a person that's quote unquote, standing up and saying, okay, enough is enough. But if everything was fine, people would be like, what are you talking about? Shut up. No, okay, you lost, move on. You got other stuff to do, blah, blah, blah. But because the quote unquote other side does not have any real arguments that they can put forth so far as how to move in a good direction, all of their focus is on what? Just stop this person.
Trump. Just
be,
stop him.
You would think that the majority of their focus would be on all of the things that need to be fixed.
Right.
I'll give you
another thing to see.
I'll just ask you this
go
real
ahead.
quick. Remember in all of this, there is another guy who is running on the other side. Have you ever even heard a campaign slogan for him?
Not at all.
Think about that.
But and that brings me to say, hold up, that brings me to say this one last thing, because like it gets to these areas, and I want you guys to continue if you can. I don't know how much time Charles has left. Like, this is what really bothers me. When the fire that has been started because of this, you can see from Trump's administration all the damn fingers that are being pointed at America from the outside off of what he did in office. That is another thing. Like it's almost like everything that you hear about now, and of course, because he was in office, right? But it's just like, I've never seen it like that in my lifetime, where almost everything that's going on right now in the world, almost everything, not in the world, but that's connected to America, it has his name on it. Like it literally has his name on it. Like from Russia, him basically shaking hands with Putin, them saying that they were cool or something. The trade war with China, like there are certain things that are being hyped up in the media that has his name stamped on it. And it's just like, to give this stuff some time to die down, because it's just like, well, what's going on? What are people saying? Well, they're saying stuff like, oh, America. Oh, well, you got this guy saying, well, we finna do this. America, stay out of it. Or you got, oh, you guys owe us some money. Where our money at? We'll stay out of what we doing in foreign countries. Like if we over here helping these people nation building, we'll stay out of it because you're not doing it. And it's like, oh wow, this, like for the presidency to be executive order and be the highest office of a nation, now it's kind of like Trump got fired. You know what I'm saying? Like you got fired for being president, and essentially that's what impeachment is, right? That's impeachment. So it's just like, yeah, man, that shit there, man. Like
he got fired. He wants the job again, and now he just wants it to be handed over to him on the platter of gold. He doesn't want to debate on the other other contestants. Which
you know what? You know what he needs, right? You know what I would say? You know what I would say, Charles, what he needs, but what he needs, but what he doesn't need. What if he had a bunch of Americans just like, you did a good job, Trump. You did a good one. You did 4 years. You did a good one. The American people liked you. It didn't go well. It's all right. It's good. Cause right now it would seem like he's sitting somewhere pissed. Like he's mad. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like he's mad and just like, wow, like, nah, we can't be having that. Like, You win some, you lose some. You know, but yeah,
Okay,
I
so
don't know.
Stanley, let's. I think this stream will soon come to an end. Let me get your thoughts, SKC. Then we'll bring the stream to a close.
Yeah, I'll go with Stanley first. I'm curious as to what he has to say.
How can I top? Dude, I recommend um, more reading about American history. So I'll stop there.
All right,
This
SKC.
isn't the first time we've been through this. Um, I will go back to what I said. Trump isn't the worst president we've ever had, and not the dumbest either.
SKC.
Yeah, I think so far as media wise, uh, education wise, and all of that other stuff, yeah, I don't think that you have a populace that's really interested in you know all of that stuff so far as doing deep reading and blah blah blah. It's more reactionary, and when you have people who decided to take a reactionary strategy and to do fear mongering and um, take all sorts of weird and emotional stances on things and put that before the public. I think it's a far cry for to later state. Well, now we need to go and do heavy lifting like learned things like reading and history and so forth. No, you created the the platform of where people are at right now, and now they're going to suffer the consequences of it. You're going to have a lot of other people that are going to say, okay, I understand that presenting facts, statistics, and the data and different things doesn't work. So you're going to get other people that are going to say, okay, we're just going to do the reactionary thing and see what pans out. And I don't think that it's going to be pretty in the upcoming year.
Okay. So for me, I have no sympathy for what Trump is going through right now because I think he brought most of it on himself. If he wouldn't, if he wasn't much of an ass, I think he gave his enemies the ammunition to take him down, and he keeps giving them. I think a lot of this would have been avoided if Trump was a bit more disciplined, right? I think that he could have done a lot more in 2020 to win the election. That was his election to win, and he lost it. And I don't see the veneration that the right wingers are venerating Trump like he's the messiah, or he's the one that's going to come and save American politics. He had 4 years to do all that. He didn't really do much. Yeah, it was great on the economy, but economy is not just everything. That's not the only thing about a country. So I think that you should SKC. This is more than hyperbolic. This is more than rhetoric. How? No, it's not. It has. Good Lord.
Well, wait,
And
hold on. Let me read this.
uh,
Okay, I wait. Deacon Dave Stanley is cold blooded?
no. See the one on the screen. SKC's comment.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm not, did you notice I really haven't said much? I've let SKC and, you know, I
Anyhow,
think I think folks should read more,
Mm.
SKC included. I don't want to use the I word.
All right. So thank you very much, guys, for this conversation. It was fun talking to you guys again after a long time. So like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in another live stream. That will be all for today. So bye, guys.